All right, guys, so we got to talk about Chicago. You know, the place that you're not supposed to talk about, according to woke Mayor Brandon Johnson, who does not want anybody who ain't from Chicago talking about the chaos and destruction that is happening under his watch in his city because of his progressive politics, his soft on crime politics, his soft on scholars politics that has, again, enable and embolden the criminals to run that city. Every single week or so, there's a teen takeover, a group of young, mostly black scholars who essentially loot and destroy parts of the city. But don't worry, Brandon Johnson says you can't criticize them. You can't demonize them. They're not little Al Capones, right? You can't treat them like little Al Capones. So there's no surprise that, again, these teenagers who apparently don't want jobs, okay, despite the jobs program that was started or boosted by Mayor Brandon Johnson, because he believes that all the kids need are jobs, right? If you just give them jobs, you give them something to do, some midnight basketball, they will stop committing crimes in his city. However, that has not happened because these teenagers don't care, right? They don't give a damn about law-abiding citizens. And for whatever reason, that seems to be something that the people of Chicago don't seem to understand or get. As we got to talk about a story that, in my opinion, is really a head-scratcher here. As you have community members begging Chicago gangs to stop shooting each other during the daytime. Yes, they're trying to put a time limit on when gangs can shoot each other, right? I'm not making this up. This is what some community members are begging gangs to do.
New for us here at 10, an unusual strategy from people living in the middle of a gang war in one Chicago neighborhood tonight. They're asking gang members to pledge to a ceasefire from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. CBS 2's Maribel Gonzalez shows us why people there are taking their message of peace directly to the gangs.
5, 6, 7, 8.
In Rogers Park, this group
Let's go.
is taking steps to curb gun violence in their neighborhood.
We have little kids, elderly, working class people who are being affected by this.
Tatiana Atkins is the co-founder of Native Sons,
Hey.
a youth organization group which formed following the shooting death of 5-year-old Devin McGregor in that area last summer.
Love you.
The boy was an innocent victim of gunfire.
It's exercise.
Through dance, sports program, and music,
We have a studio recording and producing program.
Native Sons wants to engage kids like Johan Starkey, especially as school is out.
Because a lot of kids are just out in the park, with nothing really to do, they're bored. And then you need to have something to do to just be like in that spirit to keep going.
They don't see enough positive role models in the neighborhood to like give them a different outlook on life so they can make a change.
But it doesn't stop there.
No sliding while the sun is out, period.
The group has also created what they call the People's Ordinance, where they're asking rival gang members and others to cease fire during the day.
It's like a treaty almost, like where they also agree that we don't want 5-year-olds being killed. We don't want 78-year-olds being shot. We've talked to rival members and they seem to gravitate towards what we're trying to do.
It's one small step, they say, to create big change.
I've noticed that there's a lot of people that's just like, why not just don't shoot, period? And it's like, we tried that. Why not just listen to the gun laws we have? We tried that.
It's not like you could just tell them stop all in all. It's like it's baby steps.
Even though the school year is about to kick off, this group wants to keep their momentum going. They'll be offering their programs in the evenings after school. Reporting in Rogers Park, Maribel Gonzalez, CBS 2 News.
Yeah, so you know one thing that you haven't tried, and this is addressing the group in the video, you haven't tried voting differently, right? Voting for law and order, voting to lock these criminals up. And before I get into it, because I want to be as respectful as possible, I respect what this group is doing, okay? However, you're naive, right? You're naive about this situation. You're not going to get anywhere asking criminals to stop shooting each other during the daytime, because criminals do not respond to the rule of law. They don't adhere to it. That's why they're criminals. That's why they're in a gang. Okay, so asking them to follow rules is silly, right? It really is a silly thing considering how they don't really care about rules. Again, that's why they're criminals. And what you should try if you actually want to clean this up is to vote for tougher on crime laws, okay? And I would go as far as to say, and some people might say I'm being controversial, but this is really what's needed. I'm telling you what's needed. We know how to clean this up. We know how to fix this problem in liberal cities, and you don't need it all the time, but there are some periods in time where you do need it. You need to vote for mass incarceration. Oh, God, no. A lot of people are hurt, right? There's a lot of people boo-hoo, whining, and crying. Oh, my God, I can't believe you said that. Vote for mass incarceration. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, that's what we need, right? That's what we need. And the only rebuttal that people have is that they're afraid of treating the criminals too harshly. Do I think that we should be locking people up for nonviolent drug offenses? No, right? But we're not talking about nonviolent drug offenses here. What we're talking about are serial looters and thieves and robbers who continue to do it because they literally get let out of jail. They get let out of jail because apparently it's racist to lock up black people, and they just continue to commit these crimes, which again tells you that they know that there's no punishment. If you actually started to punish these people, lock them up for a long period of time, basically throw away the key, if you commit these types of smash and grab robberies, I guarantee you would see it go away because criminals will understand consequences, okay? You need to start locking up gang members, okay? These gang members, you're affiliated with a gang, you get involved with a shooting, you're going away, right? You're going away. You're going to do hard time. I'm so serious. Because force is the only thing that criminals respond to. Criminals do not respond to begging and pleading from law-abiding citizens to stop shooting. They don't give a damn. That's why you have kids dying. If they gave a damn about children and law-abiding citizens, then you wouldn't have this problem in the first place. But it's clear that they don't. So what makes you think they're going to adhere to words? They only respond to force. Force. And until you get tough on them, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. And that's the frustrating part. The time for talking is done. What you have to do is, first and foremost, keep your kids out of the street. The whole point of these people begging gangs to refrain from shooting each other during the daytime is for basically to encourage parents to not allow their kids to be out late at night because they know that that's when gangs shoot. Okay, if there's a set period of time in which people know that gangs shoot, then theoretically parents will keep their kids out of the street. Even though I don't think that that's the case, but regardless, parents need to keep their kids out of the street, period, right? Keep your kids out of the street at night, period. Take care of your kids. Take some responsibility as parents and keeping your kids out of this criminal lifestyle first and foremost, right? There needs to be a culture shift first and foremost. Then vote differently. Vote differently. Vote for tougher on crime laws. Clean up these neighborhoods. Vote for politicians that are going to lock criminals up for a long time. Once you do that, your neighborhood is safe. Businesses can actually operate in your neighborhood without having to worry about being robbed out of business. Kids can walk to school. They can get on a school bus without having to worry about getting their head blown off because some lunatics, teenagers, decided to stage an assassination hit on them. Yeah, once you clean up the neighborhood to the point where people can be safe living in the neighborhood, then you can actually start to invest. Then you can actually do something to change the circumstances of the kids and the law-abiding citizens living there. I'm sorry if I care more about law-abiding citizens feeling safe than I care about the criminals' feelings. I don't give a damn about how criminals feel. That's the problem. You caring too much about the criminals and their feelings and not caring about the feelings of the law-abiding citizens who just want to live in a safe neighborhood. You need to lock criminals up and throw away the key. Mass incarceration. It has to happen. That's the only way you're going to fix it. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Now, clearly, you learn from the mistakes of the past, right? You don't want to be locking up people who actually aren't violent, but the robbers, the thieves, the murderers, okay, the assaulters, the actual real violent criminals, we got to clean them up. They got to be off the streets, right? Zero tolerance for it. You're done. People who are law-abiding citizens don't have to worry about it, right? Because they obey the law. But I'm sorry if I want law-abiding citizens to live in a safe neighborhood. If I want kids to go to good schools and to live in a safe neighborhood, not have to worry about bullets flying through their house because you got gangs fighting and shooting and killing each other. I'm just saying, apparently that makes you a sellout, that makes you this, that makes you that as a black person to say, hey, I want black people to live in safe neighborhoods. Wow, I'm such a sellout. Now, when the crime is cleaned up, when things calm down, then you can, get a little bit soft on crime. You don't need mass incarceration anymore. All the criminals are locked up. But when the crime starts to uptick again, then you bring back the punishment. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Just because it was controversial in the past doesn't mean that you can't do it again. It was necessary. Crime was rising exponentially between the 1960s and the 1990s. The 1994 crime bill was necessary because crime was at an all-time high. And then crime, coincidentally, started to decrease in the early 90s. And the 94 crime bill was enacted and crime continued to decrease. And then when we started to get soft on crime again, that's when crime started to increase. We're the softest on crime that we've ever been. And guess what? Crime is ticking up. Okay, it's going back up. Murders are going up. All types of violent crimes and, again, thefts and robberies going up. Okay? Why is that? Again, it's because we become softer on crime. And you don't wait until it gets back to the levels that it was in the 90s before you do something about it. You nip it in the bud before it actually gets to that point. That's common sense. But again, unfortunately, we don't see that enough because the politicians, and so it seems some of the Democrats themselves, liberals that live in these liberal cities, they don't care about law-abiding citizens. They don't even care about themselves, right? And their livelihoods because they keep voting for this nonsense. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.